Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 441. It's Tuesday, January 8th, 2013, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, Internet Talk Radio for your imagination. Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on Earth located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California. Today we hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster. Plus we bring you the segment MASTERPOD THEATER featuring an interesting interview that never happened.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration announced that last year was the hottest year on record. That makes me saddened.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
They say the average temperature was 55.3 degrees, 1 degree above the previous record held in 1998. That may explain why my sweating last year was great. Temperatures were above normal every month between June 2011 and September 2012. That's a 16-month stretch that's never happened. I know this because I looked on the shelf that has all this information. Yes, so climate change is happening.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
But despite all this evidence from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, there are still some scientists laughing.
Mike's
And it's interesting
Daily
that the person
Podcast
who is speaking out about it is from where I used to live, in Huntsville, Alabama. John R. Christie. He directs the Earth System Science Center at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. A lovely university, by the way, that has a very nice radio station that happens to be an NPR station. Although they do not play a single NPR news show between the hours of 9 a.m. and I believe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because that would be too controversial. After 3 o'clock, they can get away with playing the All Things Considered and all those other news-type shows. But John R. Christie from the lovely University of Alabama in Huntsville said that some researchers are exaggerating the severity of the threat. He said that the right climate target is in the mind of the beholder, given that rising energy demand is a sign that many poor people are struggling to be lifted out of their current condition. And right now, carbon is the most accessible and affordable way to supply the energy. So CO2 emissions will continue to rise, he says, because of the undeniable benefit carbon energy brings to human life. And that's why this human life doesn't live in Huntsville, Alabama anymore, because it is so freaking hot there. Oh my gosh, the summers in Huntsville were horrid. And then when you finally get some winds blowing, they blow your house away because of the tornadoes. No thank you. Oh, look who just walked in.
Hi, Mike. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing?
And it's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
I really enjoyed that 16-month stretch of hot weather between June 2011 and September 2012. I got to stay in my bathing suit for that 16-month stretch. I kind of liked it.
Okay, yeah, but things getting hotter, that makes the whole weather system go whack. That's what Al Gore said.
Al Gore just sold his television station to the Taliban.
Oh, to Al Jazeera.
Whatever.
I don't think that's quite the same. But, you know, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, what you're saying is you're enjoying the climate changing and it getting really hot and all that.
It's wintertime. I'm cold. I'd rather be hot.
I see your reasoning. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster.
Brewmaster, I see there's a case of root beer that you've made, and it's all wrapped up with a big bow on it. Who's that going to?
My favorite person in the whole world, John Boehner.
Wait, now, hold on. You like John Boehner?
Yeah, he's really nice, and he loves my root beer.
Okay, John Boehner is like someone that I cannot trust. I cannot believe that he is once again the Speaker of the House.
What house?
The one that's supposed to make Obama get out of the White House and keep all the temperatures nice and warm.
Well, anyway, I made the root beer for my friend, and here are the guys that are coming to pick it up.
Brewmaster, those guys that just walked in, that's the Secret Service. I think they're here to arrest you. Your root beer probably poisoned John Boehner.
Good job, Brewmaster. I'm kind of fond of you now, but not that way.
Better not be that way, because you gotta be fond of me first. Y'all also like the climate change, because I stay in a bikini all year.
It's true, Mike. It's true.
We gotta go buy, I'll buy. One pieces are very popular this year.
I did not know that. Well, whatever you feel about climate change, John Boehner, or delicious root beer made by the Brewmaster that the Secret Service has now quarantined. You can email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show, or if you would like to sponsor the show, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. We also have a website called mikesdailypodcast.com where you can go to find where to find us on Twitter, Facebook, on Yelp. If you would like to Yelp about the show, you can find the link at mikesdailypodcast.com. Also our YouTube and our sometimes show called Mike's Daily Post Podcast with Basil the Boxer, which we may or may not do today. I'm looking at Basil the Boxer, and he's hiding underneath a blanket. He may not feel up to it. We'll see. We'll see. But you can all find that all there at mikesdailypodcast.com, as well as a link to where to find us on iTunes, where you can subscribe to this show. And if you do, more people find out about us miraculously. And we also have the blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Mike's Daily Podcast MASTERPOD THEATER.
And now, the Mike's Daily Podcast Players present the Into an Interview That Never Happened.
Thank you, British guy.
I'm from Pacoima.
Well, I was supposed to do an interview yesterday with a artist, a singer-songwriter by the name of Stacey Clark. She's in her early 30s, and she was supposed to call me, and she never did, which upsets me because I wrote all these questions, and now I have no one to ask them to. Until now, through the miracle of the Mike's Daily Podcast Players and MASTERPOD Theater. So here we go. Hi, Stacey Clark. How are you today?
Hi, Mike. I'm fine. I'm just writing songs. That's what I do. Girls in their early 30s like to write a lot of songs.
Well, here, let me ask you some questions here. You recently cleaned out your closet, it said on Facebook. What's your system for doing that?
Okay, well, what I do is I take my clothes and I throw them all in the trash.
Fascinating. Okay, last year you got the best singer-songwriter and artist of the, year in music. Something. I can't read my own writing. I guess it was in Los Angeles. So you won that. What was that like?
Mike, I don't know what you're talking about.
Excellent. So you got to open for Roger Hodgson in August. You were doing some tour dates with him. And he was the lead singer from Supertramp, which I love Supertramp. And I, in fact, actually have some of Roger Hodgson's solo stuff. He had the really high voice in the band. What was that like touring with him?
Okay, well, first off, I don't really like high voices, even though I have one. And also, I had no idea who Roger Hodgson was. He was just some, British guy. And he didn't like any of my songs. But I did kind of like that one song he did that got turned into a rap song.
Oh, that one, Take a Look at My Girlfriend, that group. What were they called?
Gym Class Heroes, you old guy. They're the best band ever.
Fascinating. Your music is everywhere now, Stacey Clark, in Mitsubishi commercials, on Sirius's The Loft, on MTV. What's the reaction been?
Well, people like my songs. They think it's really motivational and especially wonderful when they hear them.
What kind of answer is that? That sounds like a stock answer.
Okay, well, that sounded like a stock question.
Whatever. I see you help various charities, including the ASPCA, which my dog would be glad to hear that you do that. How did you get started with that?
Dogs are great.
I can't argue with that.
Well, I can argue with you, because dogs aren't great. Sometimes they make a big poop in your backyard and destroy all your grass. So I hate dogs.
But you just said you love dogs.
Yeah, I do.
All right, moving on. In 2004, you packed up your car and moved to Los Angeles. You moved from Buffalo, New York. What would you say to people that want to do that? What should people know if they're going to do that?
Well, first off, don't pack up your dog in the car, because dogs don't like to drive, for 7 days across the country. It's kind of rude to them and mean and cruel. Second, make sure to bring a lot of bras and a lot of undergarments. And also make sure to have places to stay that aren't like someone's couch that's full of cracker crumbs and pizza crust. That's disgusting.
So, in other words, have actual hotels that you can stay at that are nice.
That costs a lot of money, Mike Matthews.
So you're just saying live out of your car.
Well, you know what? If you want to travel across country, that's your own business. Don't ask me for advice. I just write songs.
What's in store for you for 2013?
I'm going to, like not be on your podcast?
Well, I think you would be very correct with that assumption. And how did you get into songwriting?
Well, I used to write poetry.
Is this true?
Yes, this is very true. I used to write poetry, and I thought, I'll put it to music. And I did. And that's why I'm a big popular singer-songwriter that's not going to be on your show.
Wonderful. Do you still perform in barefoot?
Yeah, I did that like once.
Okay, I did research, and apparently you did. And also, you met Jason Lee and David Spade. What were they like?
Total jerks.
Wondrous. Do you know Shelley Shuhart?
Yeah, in fact, she's here right now. Hello, Valentino. This is Shelley Shuhart, the shop supervisor, and I'm hanging out with Stacy Clark. She's like really awesome.
All right, well, you two have fun. Thank you very much for the interview, Stacy.
I'll blow it out your...
You have been listening to Mike's Daily Podcast Players and the Into an Interview with Stacy Clark that never happened. And I'm from Pacoima.
Thank you, Pacoima British guy. And we go outside the last place on earth where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, California.
And here's today's podcast picture.
You know, I have a lot of experience talking to musicians. I kind of fancy myself one, and I enjoy talking to them and hearing their interesting stories. And it just kind of miffs me when all of a sudden I am left completely hanging out on the ledge. No answer in the email, nothing. And yet I am told that at a certain time and date we are going to speak. And then we don't. So you know what? The MASTERPOD Theater had to be done. And I hope you and I learned a lot from it. Yeah, I know what I learned, Mike. Never cancel an interview with you. And that's a good takeaway. The picture is of Basil the Boxer, who is laying stage right now under a blanket, and he is trying to sleep, but the annoying voices I make keep him up. Sorry, Basil. You'll get a walk soon. I promise you. But this is a picture of him on a walk we did in a cool trail that is in Hayward, California. And to get to this trail, you have to go through this park where the Hayward Plunge is. The Hayward Plunge is an indoor pool that's very 1930s-ish. You expect people to be in their little one-pieces, men in their one-pieces, you know, the ones that were striped and went up to their shoulders, and they had the big mustaches, and they were like, I'm going to go for a swim, a dip in the plunge, and forthwith. Okay, now it just sounds like someone from a Shakespeare play, but you get the idea, the old-timey type of pool. It's a really neat old building in Hayward. And then you have this trail that leaves from the building that goes up into the hills of Hayward, and there's all these ferns. And this time of year with all the rains, there's like a waterfall off to the side. It's so neat. It's like you're on a tropical island in Hawaii, but you're not. You're in the Northern California area, and that is where Hayward is in the East Bay of the Bay Area. So that is a nice little picture with Basil. He loves to... Oh, and also, there is this rule of a lot of the trails that belong to the East Bay Regional Park District that you can let your dogs off leash and they can run about. You just have to be, they have to be under vocal command, which Basil practically is. No, he's quite good. I'll say his name. He comes to me. If he doesn't come to me, I turn into this crazy screaming lunatic, and then he comes back to me to see what's wrong with me. He's like, what happened to you? Why are you, are you okay? And so that brings him back too. So I guess he is under complete vocal command.
Mark, I really like that interview with that girl, Stacy Clark. I want to buy all her albums.
Do you know who Supertramp is?
Yeah, they were cool.
Don't say their greatest song was Take a Look at My Girlfriend. Their greatest song is another Take song that's called Take the Long Way Home, because there's a line in there I love. And this is for all you performers out there. When you're up on the stage, it's so unbelievable, unforgettable how they adore you. But then your wife seems to think you're losing your sanity. Oh, calamity. Well, is there no way out?
Mike, my wife says I lost my sanity a long time ago.
Oh, calamity.
Yeah, okay, sanity and calamity do rhyme. Thanks for pointing that out, tell you what.
Disgruntled Fiddle Player, are you smoking a cigar?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, Stacy was talking about earlier about how dogs poo on your lawn and kill the grass. All right, I think that cigar smoke and marijuana smoke often